Right now we're on the Rio Grande where we can see people have been trying to cross, and we actually just encountered a raft. We have Mexican military there.
No, it's just theirs. No.
Yeah, it's not theirs. That one looks like, I think that one's got a line tied to it. Yeah, you can see it in the water. So what they'll do, they'll run the raft across, and if we come try to get it, it's a lot faster to pull it in with a line than it is for them to paddle back. You can go buy that exact raft. They buy them at Academy. They're about $100.
I think we just stopped a attempt. So now they're going to show up and see that their raft is gone, and they're going to have to make some sort of backup plan.
Yeah.
Well, we ruined their day.
Eagle Pass, the gateway for illegal migration into America. With crossings at record numbers and tensions brewing between the state of Texas and the federal government, the DailyWire sent me down here to see the situation up close. One person I rode along with is a Texas state trooper who patrols the highways for human smugglers, which, according to her, can be a dangerous endeavor.
So we're going to be looking for a newer white Chevy. We're looking for cars that are out of place for whatever reason, based off the area that they're from or the travel pattern, or it could just look off. Anything that we could find that might be an indicator of smuggling. So in April, we encountered 2 suspects that were involved in a human smuggling operation. They were smuggling 6 undocumented individuals. It was a pursuit when I tried to stop the car initially, and we were able to capture the 2 individuals that were involved in the smuggling event, as well as all of the undocumented individuals. It happened that the suspects, both of them had firearms, and the driver had an active warrant for murder out of Louisiana.
On the ground! Get down! Get down!
So you didn't know he was a murderer when you got him?
The initial stop, no. When I attempted to stop him for that basic traffic violation is when he started to flee. You could tell based off of some of the things that people do when they encounter police, certain nervous tendencies and other criminal indicators, plus the weight of the vehicle. How far of a space do you see in the wheel well, like that one? I can't see anything in the back seat, but there's obviously hundreds of pounds of weight there to make the car sag like that. So we were able to bring justice to him and be able to transfer him off to a federal agency, not only for smuggling charges where we worked together with them, but then the other agency in Louisiana was able to pursue him for the murder warrant.
That's it.
I'm gonna stop this white Chevy pickup truck driving on the shoulder when prohibited. So things I'm looking for now, trying to stop it. I'm gonna watch its driving behavior to see, are they watching me instead of watching the road? Are they deleting things off their cell phone? It may look similar to an intoxicated driver. Hey guys, Highway Patrol. You got your license and insurance real quick? Where you guys headed to today? What brings y'all this way?
To work.
Okay, what do you do for a living?
Swim pools.
Swimming pools. Both of y'all out at Eagle Pass? Okay, I got you. The reason for the stop is you're driving on the shoulder. Are y'all okay? Are you tired? You had anything to drink?
He put the signal in.
Oh, you were like gonna let him pass or something? I got you.
So what are you saying?
So their story is they're headed to Del Rio. They install swimming pools. He had construction equipment that kind of matched that story in the back of his truck too. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think he's fine. Alrighty, sir. That's your license back. It's your copy of the warning. There's no fees or fines or anything. All right, y'all be safe.
What would bring an American citizen to get into the smuggling trade?
Money. It's all about money, right? So the cartels and gangs are at the center of the smuggling trade, and anything that they can make money off of is a commodity to them. So you have to remember, with undocumented individuals, as much as we view them as human, to these gangs that are benefiting from them, they're just money. And that's what it's all about. They're a commodity that can be reused and even taken advantage of after the stop to get more money out of them.
How much money are we talking?
Your average driver per vehicle that's, we call it loaded, with individuals, they're gonna make $5,000 to $10,000 on average.
In just like one drive?
One drive, yep.
$5,000 to $10,000. By transporting illegals, you could make a nice living. but at what cost? At Shelby Park, the sight of armed National Guard troops only yards away from golfers is unforgettable. But what's most burned into my mind is who I encountered when Lieutenant Chris Olivares took me through the park.
So National Guard is adding another barrier. This is an anti-climb barrier, in addition to the concertina wire that's already been placed along the river. So it's multiple layers of physical barrier, making it more difficult to prevent illegal crossings in this area at Shelby Park. And you also see the shipping containers. They're adding more razor wire on top of the shipping containers because prior to that, the illegal immigrants that were crossing, they were also climbing over the shipping containers or even digging underneath the containers.
There's so much clothing in this.
Yeah. Before this barrier was put up, when groups would cross, they would place their wet clothes on top of the wire, smash it down, that way they could get across.
We're hearing from the federal government that it's impossible to secure the border.
I don't agree with that. Since they've been doing this, I mean, numbers have dropped in this area compared to what we're experiencing in December. I mean, we're seeing maybe a handful of people that are entering the park, and those that are entering, we're arresting them for criminal trespass, which is a state charge. We got some people right here waiting.
Oh, guys. Hola. ¿Cuántos años tiene?
3 años.
Tres años. ¿Por qué ella está aquí?
Porque vamos a estar juntos, somos una familia.
Ella no tiene familia.
Ella es mi hija, o sea, mi hija con su mamá.
Su mamá, ¿de dónde es mamá?
Venezuela, todos somos de Venezuela.
So he's from Venezuela. You speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
I think he's telling me that's his wife's daughter. Not his daughter, but his wife's daughter. Can you ask him? Can you clarify that for me?
¿Es tu hija?
No, es mi hijastra.
¿Eh?
Yo la estoy criando desde chiquita.
¿Y dónde está la mamá de ella?
Ese fue que la llevaron de emergencia porque me está dando a luz.
¿Y la mamá de ella son tu esposa o qué
Es
es?
mi esposa,
Ah,
sí
okay.
pasé selva, sí pasé la selva.
What was he saying about his wife?
He's saying that his wife was pregnant, that her water broke, and that's why.
Here?
Yes, here, on this side,
Like
while they're waiting
today?
here. Right, just right now.
After she swam across
Right,
the river?
this morning. That's why National Guard, they took her obviously to the hospital to get her medical treatment. So to be that far in your pregnancy, right, they had to know more or less, okay, when she was going to give birth in order to cross on this side and have a child here in the U.S.
Is that baby a citizen now?
Chances are yes, because the child's going to be born here. And we see that a lot with a lot of pregnant females that are coming across. They'll wait usually when they're about to give birth, and then they'll cross into the United States because then they'll have the baby that same day, or they'll have it like right at the river as they're crossing.
Wow. Were these people who were evading, or they wanted to get caught?
No, they want to get caught. They know the system. Obviously, they're looking for Border Patrol. Come across, look for the green uniform, turn yourself in, and more likely, chances are you're going to get released into the country. But that's the problem too, is that they use the children in those type of situations, right? Because they know obviously there is a human side to us, and we see children, but they do use the children for that, to try to get across.
I couldn't imagine bringing a 3-year-old.
Well, especially coming across this river. I mean, look at it. It's very strong. It's very dangerous. And that's why in this area here alone, we average a drowning a day. And then they'll get to the island here, and then they'll find another little route to get across. But there's no way of knowing, one misstep, I mean, it's going to take you under, and especially with a child. And there's really no way for them to even try to, rescue that child because the current's so strong.
I mean, they have to be freezing.
Yeah, I understand they're desperate, right? But they're really placing their children in danger, especially crossing a river. And not only that, you're paying a criminal, a smuggler in Mexico to get across too. So there's a lot of concerns with that in general. And that's why, because of the federal government and what they're doing right now, they really don't acknowledge the fact that it's okay for people to cross a river with a child, right? To them, it's fine. They ignore that issue, but when it's involving the state of Texas, when we put up barriers, well, that's inhumane. But yet we're trying to prevent people from crossing so we don't see situations like this, so we don't have anybody drowning, especially children. We're the only ones really trying to prevent that, and yet the federal government hasn't done anything as far as trying to prevent illegal crossings between ports of entry.
Well, I mean, this is supposed to be deterrence, and they're seeing it from this side, yet he still came. So
Right.
what was his calculation?
The challenge is that, yes, they see the barriers, but when they know for a fact, all I got to do is defeat this or wait it out for hours, and I'm going to get released into the country. And they know that because they've heard it from other people that have done the exact same thing, that are in the country right now, that have gone through the process. So we're up against that battle, but at the same time, you're challenging the federal government, who's continuing to incentivize illegal immigration because of that. And that's why they'll wait it out for hours, because they know the system already. Just wait it out, or I'll use my child, and eventually they're gonna let me in.
It's crazy. 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Does that child really belong to him? I can only take him at his word. For many children, crossing the border happens forcibly by the cartels. Doc Pete Chambers, one of the founders of the Take Our Border Back convoy, says he's encountered children escorted by suspicious men.
Just southeast of Roma, Texas, across the way is Miguel Alemán, the city of Miguel Alemán. Highly contested cartel fighting going on in this town during that time, a year and a half ago. 900 people came across the point that night. It was about 3 a.m, and I saw some people walking across, and my job is to just look for the needle and needle stack terrorists. But I did see 2 children, 8 and 7 years old, sisters from Guatemala. They were being pushed across by 2 gentlemen that were not their fathers, were not even relations. And I asked my guys, please separate them, got the Border Patrol, handed off those guys to Border Patrol and said, they're not related. And then when they questioned them, they were not. They weren't even from the same country. I asked the girls who had a little note around their neck, where are y'all going? Through the interpreter, we're going to Atlanta to find our aunt, with a phone number on it. That's where they were going. Told my guys in the truck, bring me some of those teddy bears. And they came over and gave them to the girls, and they hugged my leg, and they cried knowing that they were safe at that moment. My problem is, what I got to live with is I got to hand them off to somebody who puts them in a system where they could potentially disappear. Now, I've got 3 children. They're all grown. 2 of them are daughters. If those were my daughters, I would wonder, where are my daughters right now?
My name is Glenn Ray Jimenez. I'm a tactical flight officer for our Aircraft Operations Division. Right now, we're going to go on a flight along the Rio Grande, and we're going to see any crossings of any illegal immigrants that are trying to get through Shelby Park.
And you were saying you guys saw migrants just a little bit ago today, right?
Yes, near the hydro dam. So right now we're going to go north towards the hydro dam, trying to see if there's any other groups crossing the area. One of the areas is right over here. This is Eagle Point area, and they'll cross to that area right there.
And they prefer to cross sunset, sunrise?
Just whenever. So you see all this trash right here, all this clothing. And this is what happens. They just leave all their clothing. But this is one of the areas that's not watched by National Guard, so it's easy for them to get through. Right there, you see that little compound right there? The 2 rectangular buildings with the people that are walking in there?
Yeah.
So that's where some of them get held up at, and they'll wait to be told to cross over. They'll just walk down, across the street, and then they'll dump their clothing and all that stuff, and then cross over here.
Looks like they're playing football or basketball or something.
Yes.
What is it, like a community center?
I think it's like an NGO.
You guys have any drone issues?
No, right now, our drones are down right now because of high winds.
What about cartel drones?
Cartel drones, we've had a few that I'm tracking in Quemado right now. They use the drones actually to do like counter surveillance. They'll try to see if any of our troopers are on the roadways actually. And if they don't see anything or anybody, any troopers, they'll send the people over, and then they'll get loaded up to vehicles, and that's when they get smuggled out of here, and then that's when our troopers end up stopping them. There's one right there. He's getting followed by one of the National Guard.
Right where?
Right there, the person that's walking. So he's pretty much just getting led to the train bridge, but he crossed into an area that's we're not able to do criminal trespass in, so that's the ones where we end up giving to a Border Patrol.
Do you think your job's gotten harder or easier since Governor Abbott signed the declaration?
Kind of a mix. I can't say it got easier or harder. We're still helping out, our troopers out there on the road. They're still getting in pursuit bailouts, so I don't think there's any big change to it right now. Yes, we've secured, 5 or 6 miles of Shelby Park area, but again, we're pushing them through different parts of the border, so I can't really say if it's gotten easier or harder.
You feel like you're playing whack-a-mole?
Yes, basically. We're just trying to figure out where they're gonna be next and try to prep for that.
Powerlessness is a common experience down here, especially for rancher Wayne King. As manager of the Tecasquite Ranch, he's almost always a step behind migrant trespassers. And when they come knocking, he's often outnumbered.
So you live on the property?
I live on the property.
Do you ever feel unsafe?
I've had several instances where I woke up at anywhere from 11 to 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning with my house surrounded and everybody banging on my windows and doors. And I've stepped out with my pistol and told them to get. In the big groups, I just let them bang and go, because you don't dare step outside.
You're inside and the migrants are banging on your door.
Uh-huh.
What do they want?
Who knows? I don't care. They ain't coming in and I ain't going out. This ranch is 8,300 acres and it's all African game hunting ranch.
And how far from the border are we?
1 mile that way.
Wow. 1 mile this way.
Yeah.
There's the river and then there's some land and then there's you.
Right. I fixed over 200 holes in these fences in the first 6 months when it all started.
So they're cutting into your fence too?
Oh yeah, they cut plumb through it. I've had them cut big holes, big square holes where they can get through. I've had them cut from top to bottom, lay it back, drive through it.
And what's the danger of them cutting holes in this fence?
Game gets out. I've already estimated we've lost about $400,000 in revenue from game being out. If you look, there's a ladder.
Wow.
Well, I got 26 cameras all over the ranch. We pretty much know when they come through. But why not climb there? But yet they'll go right here and cut a hole in my fence.
What has changed since Governor Abbott reinforced the border more and changed the policies?
I mean, we're all tickled to death with what he's doing. For the main traffic going, when I say it's slowed down, that's a loose term. When this first started, it was 100 a week coming through here. Now I'm down to probably 25 a week. But we shouldn't have to put up with it. The government, they can't comprehend the concept. If they really wanted to do this right, why are they coming through my pastures? Why are they destroying water troughs, water lines, windmills? Why don't they just cross the bridge where they can get all of the government's handouts and everything's hunky-dory?
Why go into your land?
Why do this? Do you want to know something? And you're going to be shocked. If you were to run them off and point a pistol straight at them and tell them to get, which is your right, and then the Border Patrol catches them over here, they can literally say, oh, I almost had a heart attack when he pointed that gun at me. And then they can get a lawyer. The lawyer can come at me and file a civil charge on me.
Wow. Are you disappointed by Congress right now?
I'm sick to my stomach over it. I'm 72 years old, so I go way back. And I remember when people were actually patriotic and people actually love this country. And I don't see it right now in Congress and the Senate. I don't see it. What else you want to call it when our state is trying to protect us, but yet our federal government is trying to stop the state from protecting us? To me, when you go up there and you become a senator, you become a representative, you become president, you take an oath to protect our borders. Well, I don't see it. And neither of us down here on the border see it. But the more this goes on, people are waking up.
People are saying, yeah.
They're seeing it, and they're tired of it.
It's so dangerous.
Well, it is. These are the situations that they're placing themselves in, these type of circumstances. And really, I guess you really can't blame them, because obviously when they're being encouraged to cross and you're going to be incentivized once you enter the country legally, who wouldn't do it, right? So that's why they're doing it.
I've found bodies out in the middle of the desert. I've seen people caught up in fences, bodies. This is ugly. Look, I love people, but that's my border. That is my backyard. That alligator is real close to my canoe. I care about those people too, but this is our border.
Eagle Pass is the fastest route between Mexico and San Antonio. And based on what I've seen, there's a reason the border town is known as Mexico's door.